Hi guys, my name is Srikar. I'm welcome to Let Us Study channel. Today we brought a new series of history. In this video we will learn how Europe got its nationalism. First, who is Frederick Soreau and what is Frederick Soreau's utopian vision? Then, about the French Revolution and the idea of the nation. Then, in making of nationalism in Europe, the aristocracy and the new Middle Ages. What did liberal nationalism stand for? A new conservatism after 1815 and the revolutionaries. After this, we learn about the age of revolutions from 1830 to 1848. In this, the romantic imagination and national feeling, hunger, hardship and popular revolt, and the 1848 revolution of the liberals. In the next video, we will also learn about making of Germany and Italy and visualizing the nation. So let's get started. First, let us see about Frederick Soreau's utopian vision. In 1848, Frederick Soreau, a French artist, made a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of a world made up of democratic and social republics. The Statue of Liberty bears a torch of enlightenment in one hand, whereas Charter of the Rights of Man in the other hand. In Soreau's utopian vision, people are identified through their flags and national costume. United States and Switzerland are already nation states by this time. France are identified by the revolutionary tricolor. Germany identified by black, red and gold flag. In Soreau's paintings, we can identify fraternity among the nations of the world. The end result of these changes was the emergence of the nation state in place of the multinational dynastic empires of Europe. The concept and practices of a modern state have been done in Europe. The next comes French Revolution and idea of the nation. The ideas of la patrie, the fatherland, and les citoyens, the citizen, emphasize the nation of a united community enjoying equal rights under a constitution. Uniform laws for all citizens within its territory was obtained. Uniform weights and measures was adopted. French armies moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland and much of Italy in the 1790s. Napoleon destroyed democracy in France. Civil Code of 1804 is also known as Napoleonic Code of 1804. Napoleon simplified administrative divisions, abolished the feudal system and freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. Businessmen and small-scale producers of goods in particular began to realize that uniform laws would worsen them. French armies were welcomed as harbingers of liberty. Now we'll see the making of nationalism in Europe. Rulers of duchies and cantons had their autonomous territories. The Habsburg Empire ruled over Austria-Hungary. In Hungary, languages are 50% of the people spoke Magyar and another 50% of people spoke other dialects. In Galicia, aristocracy spoke Polish. Besides this, in north, Bohemians and Slovaks, south, Slovenes in Carniola, Croats, and in the east, Romans. Now we'll see aristocracy and the new Middle Ages. In Europe, they spoke French for purposes of diplomacy and in high society. National unity following the abolition of aristocratic privileges gained popularity. In England, industrialization began in mid-18th century, but in France and parts of Germany, it began in 19th century. Now let us see what did liberal nationalism stand for. In early 19th century, Europe were closely allied to the ideology of liberalism. The term liberalism is derived from a Latin root word liber, which means free. 19th century liberals also stressed the inviolability of private property. Universal suffrage was not obtained. Napoleonic Code reduced women to the status of a minor. Women and non-propertied men organized opposition movements demanding equal political rights. Napoleon's administration measures created a countless small principalities, a confederation of 39 states. If a merchant wanted to travel from Hamburg to Nuremberg, he had to pass 11 custom barriers and pay a customs duty of about 5% at each one of them. L was a term used to measure length in a region. In Frankfurt, 1 L means 54.7 cm of cloth. In Mainz, 1 L means 55.1 cm of cloth. In Nuremberg, 1 L means 65.6 cm of cloth. And in Freiburg, 1 L means 53.5 cm of cloth. Now let us see a new conservatism after 1815. Following the defeat of Napoleon in 1815, European governments were driven by a spirit of conservatism. The modernization could in fact strengthen tradition of institutions like the monarchy. Abolition of feudalism and serfdom could strengthen the autocratic monarchies of Europe. Britain, Russia, Prussia, Austria met at Vienna to draw up a settlement for Europe. This is also known as Treaty of Vienna. Congress is hosted by Duke Metternich. Russia was given a part of Poland. Prussia was given a part of Saxony. Conservative regimes set up in 1815 were autocratic. Now, the last topic in making of nationalism in Europe is the revolutionaries. After 1815, the fear of repression drove many liberal nationalists underground. Italian revolutionary Giuseppe Mazzini, Metternich described him as the most dangerous enemy of our social order. Giuseppe Mazzini was sent into exile in 1831 for attempting a revolution in Liguria. But he subsequently founded two more underground societies, namely Young Italy in Marseilles, then Young Europe in Berna. Mazzini's relentless opposition to monarchy and his vision of democratic republics frightened the conservatives. Now let us see a new concept, the age of revolutions. Liberalism and nationalism are associated with revolution. Ottoman Empire, Ireland and Poland, like revolutions, are led by liberal nationalists. The first upheaval took place in France in July 1830. The most famous quote by Duke Metternich was, "When France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold." Even that mobilized nationalist feelings among educated elite across Europe was the Great War of Independence. Greece is a part of Ottoman Empire since 15th century. The English poet Lord Byron organized funds and later went to fight in the war. Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent nation. Now, in the age of revolutions, there is a topic, the romantic imagination and national feeling. Culture played an important role in creating the idea of the nation. Romanticism is a cultural movement which sought to develop a particular form of national sentiment. Romantic artists criticized the glorification of reason and science and focused instead on emotions, intuition, and mystical feelings. Other romantics, such as the German philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder, claimed that true German culture was to be discovered among the common people by Das Volk. Now, today's last topic is hunger, hardship, and popular revolt. The 1830s were years of great economic hardship in Europe. The first half of 19th century saw an enormous increase in population all over the Europe. In most countries, there were more seekers of jobs than employment. Population from rural areas migrated to the cities to live in overcrowded slums. Small producers in towns were often faced with stiff competition from imports of cheap, machine-made goods from England, where industrialization was more advanced than on the continent. The year 1848 was one such year where people faced food shortages and widespread unemployment, which brought the population of Paris out on the roads. At this time, National Assembly proclaimed a republic, granted suffrage to all adult males above 21, and guaranteed the right to work. And in earlier 1845, weavers in Silesia had led a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw material and gave them orders for finished textiles but drastically reduced their payments. On 4th June at 2 p.m., a large crowd of weavers emerged from their homes and marched in Paris up to the mansion of the contractor, demanding higher wages. But they were treated with scorn and threats alternately. Following this, a group of them forced their way into the house, smashed its elegant window panes, furniture, porcelain. Another group broke into the storehouse and plundered it of supplies of cloth, which they tore to shreds. The contractor was fled with his family to a neighboring village, but he refused to shelter in such a manner, and he returned 24 hours later, having requisitioned the army. And when he bought the army, 11 weavers were shot.